A quick and easy one-day ride is a good opportunity to shake down the bike ahead of our big Flinders Ranges ride coming up.
Doing anything too risky today, but here we are.
But here's the thing, when people say a shakedown, there's usually not an expectation that things will actually go wrong. Until they do. Some rides start with a bang, and ours started like a reheated servo coffee. Warm in theory, but quickly became bitter and cold. But before we head into the mist, we meet at the servo, where Matt observes the ever-growing list of things that Andrew and I have in common.
You guys are the same people. You are the same people.
I think because you would have slightly used Prado.
What's going at the end of the week?
I just did the pink slip on mine yesterday.
How many Ks you got on that then?
260.
Petrol or diesel?
Petrol.
Oh, that's right, petrol manual.
Yeah. 6-speed manual.
Oh, there's only 2 people I know that ever owned them, and they live on the back of each other.
And they're both white.
Yeah.
We continued through Richmond to Bell's Line of Road, where the weather started to turn on us.
Good time to be in the turf industry. Certainly isn't the glorious sunshine that we got yesterday.
We stopped at the Grumpy Baker at Bilpin, a cosy little spot that started in a Darlinghurst laneway baking sourdough. Good bread, early mornings, and a name that makes sense when you've met a baker at 4 a.m. The weather might have been cold and wet, but the croissants were warm and dry. Not a bad trade, really. Back on the bikes, the next stop was the Zig Zag Railway and our first taste of dirt.
Clear skies. In an instant. Love it.
Look at ABS. ABS,
Yeah.
easy to turn off.
I haven't turned it off yet, but yeah, you can switch it off. It switches off all.
That's good.
Zig Zag Railway through to Blackfellows Hand Trail to the rock formations there. Alright, dirt. Try and remember what this is like. How does this work again? That's how it works, that's right. Finish off this rear tyre today, I reckon. Old Bell's Line of Road is pretty straightforward. Of course, if you want the more interesting, you can take the Powerline path, Glowworm Tunnel Road, which if you're going to Glowworm Tunnel, you follow the Glowworm Tunnel Road. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's a bit sandy actually. I wouldn't say this is freeway-like. Probably did grade it. I think they graded it probably 6 months ago, and well, obviously had a lot of rain since then. It's not challenging by any means. I remember coming through here, this was all massive holes, water-filled holes that you had to get around. Lots of 4 drives out. Yeah, this is the first time I've been on the bike this year, and it's March, 2nd. So, and I think it had been a couple of months since I'd been on it before that. So it's been a good 4 months at least since I've been on the bike. When you first get back on it, it's that tension, trying to release that tension. It's just, it's hard. You gotta relax, you gotta loosen up. The looseness of the surface, the movement of the bike, you gotta get comfortable with it again. Plenty of bikes out today. If you spot yourself, make sure you say hello in the comments. It's actually pretty nice. Stunning. Look at that. That's the difference between that and Abercrombie, is the rocks are on the outside of the track, whereas in Abercrombie they're in the middle of the track. Whoa, some of those are pretty solid.
You can ride a lot of places in Australia, but this section through the Gardens of Stone is something else. Millions of years of wind, rain and erosion have slowly worn away this softer stone, leaving behind the ironstone cap stacks. What you see today is just a moment on a very different timescale to us. We dropped back onto the sealed roads for just a moment, Wolgan Road, and then turned off onto Baal Trail.
So this effectively goes parallel with the other Bicentennial, but doesn't include that big climb. So if you're wanting the not so challenging path, this is the one. A few little sandy patches, but nothing deep at all. Really surface level sand. Just makes the bike move around a little bit, but nothing drastic. Ooh, warming up.
I don't trust myself to go any closer to the edge on a motorbike.
No, me neither.
Matt knows me too well.
We pulled in at the Ben Bullen Lookout for a quick breather and have a look over Wolgan Valley. Here the natural beauty has begun to take back from the early 1900s shale oil industrial remnants. That's a mouthful. Down in the valley is the old mining town of Nunes, the other side of the glowworm tunnels that we visited, that can't be right, a year ago. Time flies when you're having fun. We follow the Bicentennial Trail further, which is a little steeper than I was expecting.
A little steeper than I was expecting, I have to admit.
Passing what looks like a four-wheel drive tour. Four-wheel drive tours, that's interesting. Until we reach the Moffitt Trail, where things get a little more intriguing.
It's Moffitt, not Moffitt. The Tenere had wider grips, thicker grips, and they seem to suit my hands better. These ones are thinner and they don't quite suit my hands. They don't fit into the glove quite as easily. Whoa. Do anything too risky today. But here we are. Glad I didn't know that was coming. We've got Flinders Ranges in 2 weeks, and I don't mind a challenge, but I don't want to risk damaging the bike 2 weeks out from a big ride. A ride that I'm very much committed to doing, both fiscally and emotionally committed. However, this is a good kind of get my brain into gear, because Flinders Ranges won't be anything like this. So, you know, doing something like this means that if I'm comfortable with this, then Flinders will be a breeze.
The track's steep and rocky surfaces are a good challenge, separated by sections of peaceful stretches to catch your breath. If you're early in your adventure bike journey, this is a good run to test your skills and courage, as long as it's dry.
do like with the Garmin XT2 that even when you're not navigating, it's still, you know, it's good to have the map obviously, but it tells you even what trails are coming up ahead or anything else that's coming up, which is pretty cool. Tell you what, feeling the fitness at the moment. Planning to do a hike shortly up to Mount Kosciuszko, and it's a 20k hike, so I've been out walking every day and building up, and you know, I've been sitting on my ass for a lot, you know, the last few years working from home, so fitness isn't great. Whoa, ended up in a spot I didn't want to be. But today's a reminder of being ride fit, game fit, and certainly not that at the moment. Just that time standing up on the pegs and, you know, moving your body around, and it's not much. It's not like you're doing push-ups, but you're doing it for hours on end. And I wasn't fit, but whoa, looking forward to that lunch break. Looking forward to sitting on my ass all day tomorrow. Hutchinson Road. You'll probably notice where we are in a moment.
Half an hour to Lithgow.
So, yeah, we've only done 155 k's.
Back at the Castlereagh Highway, we discussed our options, and little did we know that my alternator was about to dictate just one option.
What do you want to do, mate?
We decided on Capertee for lunch, and when I moved the bike into the shade, this little hesitation hinted at what the afternoon had in store for us. Leaving Capertee, I had no idea how long this battery would last. Was the Stator producing any power at all? What exactly would happen as the battery voltage dropped? What would drop out first? And if we disconnected as many things as possible, could we make it all the way home? It's a 30-minute ride from Capertee to Lithgow, and as it turns out, 300 metres short of the 7-Eleven was how far it would go. We towed it to the servo, and Supercheap Auto had one battery available. We dropped it in and kept going, but the bike intermittently started cutting out.
Here we go again. Alright, turned out. Quick pit stop, because the terminals just kept cutting out. Couldn't work out what was happening. Turns out, because we've hooked up the battery again with less items connected to it, the terminals were loose. Not much, like you couldn't really tell when you were bolting them up. It was only, you know, when we had a look at them, you could see that they were just a tad loose. That's why over bumps and so on, it just would suddenly cut out. Sitting on 12 volts again. See how we go. I'll disconnect the headlight again, just because, you know, the headlight running for an hour, you imagine if you sat your bike for an hour with the headlight on, it'd go flat. Now that we know that that wasn't causing the problem, that'll get us an extra half an hour at least. Sitting on 11.8, sitting on 12 before, so Hopefully it now just sits on 11.8 for a while. Botanical Gardens, and it's now showing 11.6. So it's still dropping, but it is pretty slow at dropping. I just don't know at what point. First thing to go will be the voltage gauge, because it's on the accessory circuit. Yeah, still 11.6. And then the instruments. Someone's filming something nearby. At least the weather's good, isn't it? Oh, what's that? Oh, a storm alert. Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, cool. Where we started this morning, and we're at 11.3 volts now. Into the 10s now, just hitting 10.9. Oh, it's gonna be close. Gonna be close. It's dropped to 10.4 and then dropped to 10.2 really quickly, so it seems to be kind of plummeting now. Oh, lost the instruments. Auxiliary still says 8.7, but I've lost the instruments already. I thought the auxiliary circuit would go first. There you go. Interesting. Been sitting on 7 volts for a long time actually. The fact that it's only lasted from Lithgow to here does say that the Stator has been running all day, and then it just failed at some point just before lunch. Okay, so we got past Bellsline Road at least. That's comforting, because it's at least now in most of these places we're going to have somewhere to stop, although I would not be a big fan of it stopping on one of these bridges. If we make it to the other side of the Hawkesbury, then we're doing pretty good. 6.0. I'm surprised that auxiliary circuit's still running.
What is it?
5.9.
I didn't think it'd go under 6. So you got no brake lights or?
Got nothing. Yeah. All right, lost the gauge. Gauge is gone. So I guess that leaves just the ignition left. There is the smallest possibility we could make it home.
Lithgow to Richmond is 85 kilometres, so how long will one battery last? An hour and a half.
Yep. I was just thinking I should have stopped back there.
Jump on if you want.
Nah, that'll do. I'll just push
go
it.
into that car park there, Bert.
Now, I could listen to Andrew and opt for the close car park, but a short, sweaty push up the road is an icy pole. From here, we could tow it, but it was cheaper to just go and buy another battery.
All right, second. So it was faster and easier and cheaper when you consider towing costs, just to run up to Super Cheap Auto, grab a second battery. So now we've got 2. We've got power again. So now We'll try and make it home on this battery. 24 kilometres, 31 minutes. That's still a distance, but it's shorter than the time that it took us to come down from Lithgow. So if we got it towed, it would have cost more than the battery. So voltage on the battery is 12.1. Got another 6 volts up my sleeve. .9 volts, holding okay at the moment. In a t-shirt. So, how far is it between Lithgow and Kellyville? About 1.7 batteries. Maybe less, maybe 1.4. We're sitting on 11.8 volts, so we're doing okay. Definitely make it from here. But yeah, it's more than one battery. At least the next ride is going to be nice and cruisy.
The next day, I checked the bike over and found this nice little surprise. The cable connecting the stator to the voltage regulator had melted. The stator was showing out of spec resistance. Which was the cause and the effect? Who knows? Either way, it's not alternating my course of action. Munich Motorcycles in WA is my go-to for BMW parts, and they delivered a new stator and a voltage regulator to me within a couple of days. And before anyone starts typing it's not an alternator because it's on a motorcycle, the stator, the rotor and the voltage regulator collectively create and convert alternating current. Therefore alternator. And also that's what it says on the parts. The new parts are upgraded versions that produce a nice power output and run a lot cooler. This is not a bad improvement for a 17-year-old bike. Cleaned up the bike to ensure it was pretty. Cleaned the oil? No, I changed the oil and added a new pre-filter and a rear tyre, and she was ready for a little test ride. Chris and I went out to Tractor 828 at Ebenezer. Flinders Ranges, here we come.